Cloudcast Media. Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, and we're pleased to have on one of our own. Brandon Joe is an associate producer of the Spotlight on the Community Show at Cloudcast Media. He's co-founder and CEO of Treasure Hacks. And how are you enjoying this gig with Cloudcast Media?
It's been amazing. I mean, some of the people that come on just invigorate me, and hearing their stories, hearing the things and ideas that they are preaching and changing the community, it's awesome.
Yeah, I know. We just heard from Chris Megason. Chris is the CEO and president of Solutions for Change, focused on, trying to find a solution for the homeless situation here in San Diego County. Been doing it for 25 years, and I know you were listening in on the interview. A lot of energy and a lot of passion.
Definitely. And some of the ideas that he expressed are just individualized change and help for the homeless instead of a one solution fits all, which is something that I definitely feel passionate about, as every single person has their own problems. Every person needs a personalized solution. And hopefully that I'm able to do something for the people that come to our events as well. So to create something like he did.
Yeah, no, that's great that you think that way. I was talking to you a little bit before the show came on, and learning a little bit about your background, of course, of what your father and mom do, and you have a sibling that's up in Portland area working for Adidas and so forth. So, talk about this passion you have for reaching out and doing good in the community where you live, or even where you don't live. Did you get that from your parents?
I would say partly from my parents.
Yeah.
And then there was also another time in my life, like middle school, high school.
Yeah.
I went through what could be described as a not so great time mentally. And I always felt guilty about where the opportunities that was delivered. And I always felt that it would be so much better if these opportunities were given to someone else. And after 2 years, I realized that instead of wishing this upon someone else, I could utilize what I've been given and give it to other people by building myself. And that's kind of where my original passion for helping people came from. And then there was a realization about when I arrived on campus with my hackathon organization I founded, like in high school, I realized that there's been many quotes of, if you want to make an impact, you do it through education. And so I was always looking towards a way to provide some sort of education towards the people that I want to help. And that just manifested itself into soft skills after hosting events for 2 years and realizing that picking up these soft skills has changed my life, changed my co-founders' lives, and the opportunities that we've been able to gather. And I want to give that same to other students and other, young people my age as well.
You're way beyond 100 years in maturity, and it's a great trajectory you're going to have, and we're going to be the beneficiary of this. We meaning the people that are in your orbit, could be all of San Diego County, who knows, Southern California, because that's something I think is never going to leave you, no matter what stage of life you're in, and that's something that's great to talk about. You mentioned about the company that you co-founded, Treasure Hacks. What's the mission?
The mission is to help overcome the gaps in formal education through soft skill gamification. So more specifically, we're hosting in-person events that currently build communication and empathy. We want to get into other soft skills, like I recently connected to a professor and bringing together a problem-solving course, which he has already developed, and we're just kind of switching it over to the format that we use, in addition to negotiation, leadership, some of the other things that we can provide that an academic setting does not.
Right. So when you talk about the gamification, are they literally doing games to learn these skill sets, or they have to, or they inherently learn them when they do these treasure hacks or the hackathons?
So the gamification is mostly a way to continue to allow students to implement what they've learned, in addition to, of course, teaching them, as you mentioned, some of the skills. So for example, in our networking portion, we have like a 15-minute quick introduction, and then we have something called musical tables, which Charles over there, who's taking a picture of me, has actually attended. We brought in 20 professionals, and they talked one-on-one with students to help them overcome the fear of talking to professionals in general, while also utilizing the introduction that we did right beforehand. And then some of the other fun things that we've looked into is we created a pitch competition, which covers the iterative process of product, where you pitch an idea, you get feedback, you iterate, and then you pitch it to another person, because rarely do you ever just pitch once to one person. And we want to make sure that students can do that in the workplace, or if they're outside as an entrepreneur, or in any sort of setting that they go into in life.
Right. So you just had a recent soft skills seminar 2024. When was that? What is it about?
It was on February 17th, and it covered networking, presenting the pitch competition I described, and financial literacy. So I described networking, pitch competition. For presenting, it's mostly how other methods of practicing, like getting uncomfortable while you're practicing, do it upside down, do it on one foot, so that when stuff happens on stage, you're not phased. You're like, I already did this upside down. And also and then there's just general rule of thumb, other presenting ideas. And then we have a game to utilize those same skills.
Now, how does one sign up for it? Is it geared to a certain audience? How does that work?
Yeah. So our main focus is from 16 to 22 who are looking for their first job or have already gotten it. And if you don't fit that sort of category and you're still want to pick up these soft skills because they're not taught, then of course we'll accept you. And we're hosting an event actually on our next event, October 22nd, hopefully. That date might change depending on the venue. And we're working with Startup San Diego, UCSD Career Center, and the Office of Innovation and Commercialization at UCSD to put this event together. And it's basically the same format, networking, presenting, pitch competition with a career fair that's focusing on small businesses and startups.
Do you have a title for the event?
Right now, we actually don't.
So you're just calling it a fall 24 event, basically, right?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Pretty much. I mean, we're coming up with different copies that will resonate with participants, because that was one of the things we learned from our previous event, is our name was so clunky. It was Treasure Hack Soft Skills Seminar. Like imagine telling your friend, I'm going to Treasure Hack Soft Skills Seminar. Like, dude.
You're right. They'd be asleep in a second. Is that the idea? So
we got to make the title more fun. If we're gamifying it, we got to make the title seem like it's fun.
You got to make it punch in there. There's no question about it. Now, is Treasure Hacks a 501c3?
Yeah, we're official 501c3 established 1 year ago. So
congratulations. That's
around.
That's great. But you're interested in founding a for-profit?
Yeah. So we want to make sure that we're financially sustainable, because our co-founders, me and another friend in Santa Clara and UCI, we're going to be in debt in T-minus 2 years. So we need to make sure that in order to continue doing this, we need to make sure we're helping people. 2, we're able to meet people in the community and then grow as people. And 3, make sure that we are financially sustainable so that we can continue doing this as a job.
Right. But do you need to do a for-profit for that? I mean, there are many nonprofits that, get paid for service or paid for programs or membership or whatever the case may be, and that's how they sustain themselves.
Definitely. And that's one of the debates we're having amongst the team is whether we should stay for-profit or should stay nonprofit and then split off into a for-profit arm. The debate kind of goes along the lines of, if we start generating more revenue within the nonprofit, then people are less likely to donate. But there's additionally the business model more fits with the purpose of trying to generate revenue. At least what we're trying to do with the for-profit. You can chime in right now on what you think about it. But we want to help students or people in general to fill out the experience part of their resumes within 1 month.
Right.
And do that via the many different opportunities, many different people that we meet. For example, if the guy, the previous guy's company was Changes for...
Solutions for Change.
Solutions for Change.
Yeah.
For example, if there's a community member like Solutions for Change, we can help bring in students who are looking for experience, and we can help them just work there, volunteer, do something that's kind of associated so it helps them and also help that community. And then there's other things that you can look into, like free internships, just make sure that you're not getting taken advantage of, or creating a project with your friends or founding a company. These are all things that we've had experience doing in our company. So we want to see if we can help students to do that and then fill out the experience part of the resume. And now with the soft skills, they're able to find jobs.
Right. We're chatting with Brandon Joe. He is the co-founder and CEO of Treasure Hacks. Also an associate producer for Cloudcast Media Spotlight on the Community show. I'm Drew Schlosberg, the host of Spotlight on the Community. We are the nation's longest running community podcast, now in our 18th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, doing great things in our region for more than 6 decades. So, here's my 2 cents, and you can give me change if you'd like on this. First of all, these are the very exciting ideas, and you never really know until you really peel the onion back a little bit. But one of the advantages of being an entrepreneurial nonprofit and an innovative nonprofit is you're going to have more opportunities to have foundations give to you and donors, because they know it's a 501c3. And don't worry about, bringing in money to do it. You need to sustain yourself as a CEO and so forth. And then, you're going to bring in a lot of restricted money and a lot of unrestricted unless you run the company. So I would probably keep it to unless you're trying to sell stock shares and all that business, I would probably keep it to a nonprofit, at least initially, to take a look at it. And if it doesn't work that way, you can always break off and doing it. But you can raise the money still under the 501c3 moniker, and in some ways, maybe even easier to do that.
Definitely. And that's kind of the mindset that I was approaching the problem from. For just context, I'm the one that's thinking about trying to keep it as a nonprofit. He's the one that wants to split it off into a for-profit. So it would be a lot more of an effective conversation if I had him here talking about his perspective, because unfortunately I'm not him.
Yeah. No, I understand. There's advantages to both in that aspect of it, but something, maybe we can have you on and we can do a debate on that aspect of it. Brandon, when we come back from break, I want to talk a little bit more about, what you're looking at doing in the summer. We talked about this beforehand. You got some internship opportunities that you might want to expand on. And then where do you see Treasure Hacks going? So give some thought to that when we return with Brandon Joe, co-founder and CEO of Treasure Hacks. I'm Drew Schlosberg. I'm brought to you by the Spotlight on the Community show, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, doing great things for more than 6 decades for people living in San Diego County. We will be right back.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg, and you're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, the nation's longest-running community podcast, now in our 18th year. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union here in these very cool Mission Fed studios in Scripps Ranch. And Mission Fed for more than 60 years has really been doing great work in all aspects in our community with nonprofits, for-profits, and so many different areas, literacy, arts, and so forth. So very grateful to have them as a partner on our Spotlight Show. We're back with Brandon Joe, co-founder and CEO of Treasure Hacks, talking about their mission and some of the events that they have just put on and some of the ones that are coming up down the road. But you're looking at being an intern up in Orange County?
Yeah.
In the summer?
I mean, I haven't gotten the approval yet, but
it's okay. I'm still looking.
Waiting on it. But
That's right.
That's one's with Hunter Douglas, hoping to be a sort of intern project manager over there. Because at least that's my goal in college is I'm building my computer science skills, and then I'm also building sales and marketing skills so I can be the communicator between these two aspects of the world, which I know is much needed in companies, hopefully.
No, they are absolutely needed in companies. There's no question about that. And then what does this company do?
This company, basically, they help to design buildings in addition to like their custom-made blinds.
Right.
In addition to innovating on many of their different products that they have. For example, one of them is auto-dimming blinds that basically in the morning it like automatically flips up, or at night it like dims the lights and does all sorts of
all
cool
light
stuff.
sensitive.
All
that?
light sensitive, automatic. It's pretty insane.
Yeah, right. And do they use solar? Is there solar panels that now that they enable them to do that?
That's a great question. I guess we'll be learning on the job, hopefully.
You'll be learning on the job. And they want you to sort of work in the space of entrepreneurism, right?
Yeah. So essentially, their big cultural change that they're implementing now is a culture in which people can determine the different things that they'll be getting into or coming up with new ideas, bringing it so it's actually implemented in the company. I believe their company is styled in the manner of having one large company with a bunch of branches all over the world, and they have meetings that they're bringing together everyone and bringing new ideas to the table that will be considered. And that's possibly one of the aspects I might be involved in.
Right. Again, and it's working with the employees, though, pretty much, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, not necessarily the customers, but that they're employees.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, that sounds good. So where do you see Treasure Hacks going 5 years, 10 years from now? I mean, it's hard to look in that crystal ball because who knows what happens in 5 days, for God's sake, But
we can dream.
Right. So where do you think you folks will be in about, let's say, a decade?
In a decade, I'm hoping to be at a place where we've established a pipeline. So the pipeline being that we first host the big seminars for students anywhere. We attract them with building these soft skills and potentially an opportunity to work with small businesses and startups. And then we have the program additional to that, where if they don't have the experiences necessary to go into these different places, that we can help them with that aspect. And we're hoping to make it into like a bingo card and gamifying it. So you can do like, I want to create a project, I want to work for a nonprofit, and I want to found a business. And that can be like bingo. And then we help them with all three aspects, building that experience part. So now, when they come out of that with both the soft skills from the seminar and the experiences on their resume, that they can find opportunities everywhere. And we can also, with the many people that I know in the community and hopefully will know in the future, bring these opportunities straight to them, as these are students who have completed both kind of certifications and shown that they have the grit, the hard work, and the passion and the mindset to be successful wherever they go.
No, that's great. Again, we're chatting with Brandon Joe, co-founder and CEO of Treasure Hacks. He's also an associate producer of Cloudcast Media Spotlight on the Community Show. I'm Drew Schlosberg, the host of the show. I've been doing it now for 18 years with the nation's longest-running community podcast, and we're brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. I think with all of this, great ideas. I love the spirit. I love the enthusiasm. I love your I can do attitude. I think it's infectious and it's great. And plus the fact that you are not shy about asking people for advice and going ahead and doing that. Talk about what areas. You've done now our show for several weeks, and of course Charles and I pretty well. Charles Parisi being the founder and CEO of Cloudcast Media. What would you say that you have learned over these just short times working with us, maybe in the Spotlight Show specifically, but it could be other parts of Cloudcast, and what things do you think you need to learn more?
That's a tough question because, there's so many. And I think the most important one is the value of local and the power of bringing people together into one central area in order to create visibility, not amongst just the listeners, but creating visibility amongst the amazing people that come here together all the time. The amount of people that I've met so far and the meetings that I have met up or set up subsequently to talk to them has been, amazing. It's the sort of, because the people that you bring in are already amazing. You kind of done a great job of kind of bringing together the most incredible people in San Diego, and I'm sure there's thousands and thousands of more. But in talking to them, I get to learn a little bit of insight from each one. And some of them give me a ton of insight, but
right.
It's been, so I can't name you all of the lessons that I've learned from not just sitting here listening, but from talking to people afterwards.
And I think thank you very much for saying that. I think, one of the things that we were very proud of is the fact we've been doing this for quite a while. And I think the show has a good reputation of bringing in the leaders of San Diego County, whether it's in the for-profit world or it's in the nonprofit world. These are game changers. These are life changers and so forth. The thing that amazes me about these folks, I'm always humbled by the fact that they are in themselves phenomenally down to earth and just absolutely so humble themselves. They don't think twice about what they do. They know it's something that's good for the community. And I think when you see people at that level, we're lucky, you are now too. And when I say we, I mean me. We get to meet these folks, and if you don't know it, you'd say, well, I wonder how the CEO of this group would be. And then you meet him and you go, this is like having hanging out with my friends. They are very easy to talk to. And I think that's something that surprises people. Do you agree?
Yeah, definitely. There's a level of intimidation towards some people who have, well, we could say status, and realizing that these people are people
yep.
it's almost an integral experience. For me, this is how I saw professionals back in high school, and I was lucky enough to meet my cousin's godfather, who was a software engineer at Microsoft, who broke down that barrier for me. Previously, I couldn't talk to any professionals, not my mom, not my uncles, aunties, not my friends' dads, but he taught me that they're people too, that they're fighting their demons, that they're down to earth, that they're willing to talk to you, help you if you ask it, because that's who they are, and that's how a lot of more people than you think are like.
Well, and you've gotten an A+ times 2 million on this, because as we've said before on the show, and you've done this very well when we first met you through Neville Villamoria, my colleague at Mission Fed Credit Union. Neville's a longtime senior VP for the credit union, that you have done this. And when you hit that epiphany from that person at Microsoft, you're off and running. You're calling people, you're cold calling people, you're feeling comfortable, and you're getting a positive response, correct?
Yeah, and people are out there to help you. Some of the conversations I've heard is that you guys emphasize saying yes. When there's someone out there asking for help, that you guys say yes to it. But all it takes, there's not that many people that ask in the first place.
That's
so
correct.
Saying yes to the very few ones that are out there really help to encourage this sort of attitude and encourage them to say yes to people in the future, and creating that sort of cyclic nature of good.
Yeah, there's no question about that. And I think one of the things that's a great life learning for you on this, you learned this not because on our show you learned it from your Microsoft person, but probably corroborated now on the show because you've seen these folks and we, when I say we, Charles Parisi and I, just almost to a point of begging younger folks to say, people want to help you. Well, he's not going to pick up the phone and talk to me. I said, yeah, all you need to do is say, hey, Drew Schlosberg mentioned you, not because I'm a big shot, it's just because I happen to know the person, or Charles Parisi said, hey, you know what, why don't you call Joe Blow and use my name, or Neville Villamoria. That's how it works. And then when they see the name, they go, oh, okay, if Brandon knows Drew or Neville or Charles, not because we're any big hotshots, it's because there's a relationship. And I think the other thing I want to talk about for you, and I think you've got it, and that's pretty admirable. A lot of people don't get it, and you've got it at a young age, is talk about the importance of relationships.
Oh, man. I mean, relationships are truly everything, not just for professional, but for personal. And building, I recently talked to a speaker. His name is Patrick Donadio, and he talked about how personal can often bottleneck your professional. If you don't build yourself in the personal manner that you might be lacking in, then you could never reach the heights that you could reach. So the relationships are vital for all of that. And I think the most important one is that you're able to reach out and get the knowledge of the people around you. I'm only here and who I am because of the many, many conversations that I've had with other people. I'm simply the encapsulation of the hundreds of people just yapping at me and yapping great knowledge at me. And so everyone else truly is too. When you're able to make a relationship, learn about someone, you can also learn about yourself via the different things that resonate from what they've said, and you just would have never considered otherwise.
No, that's very spot on. So how do people help you at Treasure Hacks? How do our listeners support you? What can they do?
Yeah. So again, we're hosting that event, hopefully October 22nd.
Yep.
And we have 3 aspects, which is 1, networking with the professionals, or not the professionals, networking with students. So it doesn't matter if you graduated 1 year ago, it doesn't matter if you didn't graduate. If you're a professional in the community and you like to help students, come by and reach out to us at me, or you can reach out to me at brandonj@treasurehacks.org, and just help to break down the barriers for these young students, because that's the first step in trying to build relationships with people outside of your generation. It's just getting comfortable and seeing them as people. And then there's also the pitch competition, where we're looking for judges and mentors to help teach the students personalized messages, because they'll be pitching, they'll be getting feedback, and then you'll be there to help digest the feedback for them on a personal, individual level. And then finally, there is the career fair. And if you have a small business or startup and you want to hire students, we're here to help you. And we're also here to help the students. I see this as a win-win-win because for small businesses and startups, you don't need to have cured cancer. You just need to create a good relationship to the people that are working there, and then you can find an opportunity. And that's what we want to teach to the students. So, and then for the small businesses and startups that come by, that we can give you students that are passionate, hungry for opportunity, hungry for just to have something to work on, to help out in the community. That's truly what at least Gen Z is all about. So we're here to help you, and you're also there to help them.
There's not a business that wouldn't want to take advantage of what you're just described to get an energetic, bright, young person passionate about whatever they're getting into to work with this group. I'm telling you that you're going to have a lot of offers and a lot of people that'll work with you. Brandon, what a pleasure interviewing you. Thank you so much for your work at Cloudcast Media. Congratulations on your early success of the Treasure Hacks, and we'll continue the conversation at Spotlight on the community interview somewhere down the road. How's that sound?
That would be incredible. Thank you very much, Drew.
Yeah, it's always my pleasure. Brandon Joe, co-founder and CEO of Treasure Treasure Hacks, also associate producer of Cloudcast Media Spotlight on the Community Show. I'm Drew Schlosberg, and you've been listening to another edition of the Spotlight Show. We are the nation's longest-running community podcast, now in our 18th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit, doing just great things for folks living in San Diego County for more than 6 decades. We hope you enjoyed the show.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.